Hi, I'm Philip Carr-Gomm, and this is This Magical Life, your guide to the intersection of psychology, spirituality, and wisdom. Hello, it's Philip Carr-Gomm. Great to see you on this lovely summer's evening. So, what I wanted to explore with you is this idea of the spiritual life. There was a little detail that I realized, which is with English, like every language has its subtleties, and there's a way in which just a slight shift in intonation means something slightly different. So if I say to you, do you have a spiritual life? That means something slightly different to, do you have a spiritual life? If I say to you, do you have a spiritual life? It means, do you have a set of practices and theories that you understand as being a spiritual life? Whereas if I say it with a slight pause in between, do you have a spiritual life? It means, is your life in general how you would call it spiritual? So there's a little nuance. It's very subtle there, but it's a nuance. But in the normal way it's used, we talk about a spiritual life as a particular way of being in the world. And you can really divide it, I think, into theory and practice. Our spiritual lives are made up of a particular worldview, point of view, and then a series of practices and things that we do from that perspective. And I published a book, Seek Teachings Everywhere, which is about the spiritual life, and it's exploring a particular aspect of it. So our theory, if you like, our theory of life, our viewpoint, our worldview is made up of a number of influences that over the years we've accumulated. It's a set of beliefs, if you like, about life. And if you asked yourself, there's a little bit of homework here, is ask yourself what your spiritual theoretical position is. And there'll be a set of precepts that are more or less conscious around believing in the spiritual nature of reality, perhaps in reincarnation, in the continuity of the soul, in perhaps the idea of the law of the harvest or of karma, and so on. So there'll be a certain set of ideas that act as your kind of guiding lights, your guiding philosophy in the world. And you may be actively engaged in developing and building that philosophy, or you may have plateaued, as it were. You may have already thought about this and studied and read and have a particular viewpoint and be satisfied with that and not be working on it. So that's the first little piece of research I'd like to do. And don't feel you have to answer right away, because this is up all the time. So have a think about that. Do you feel that you have plateaued? Do you have a spiritual worldview and a theory of life and its purpose that is reasonably or sufficiently well articulated for you? Or are you actively seeking to build it and to change it in some way? So that's the first question. And the second question is, which is where we're getting to the kind of theme in this book, really. The second question is, what is that built upon? Have you adopted this philosophy as the result of one particular viewpoint? For instance, a Christian viewpoint, a Buddhist viewpoint, a Kabbalistic viewpoint. Have you adopted it with one particular viewpoint? Or have you actually built it from a number of different sources? Now, in my experience, I think probably a lot of people that I meet have built it from many different sources. I know I have. So that over the years, as I've read and studied and followed various teachers and done various trainings and so on, I have built my philosophy of life, if you like, my worldview. And this has important implications, as we'll come to see, I think. So, but do have a think about that. And then maybe at the end of this broadcast, write down, let me know where you feel your inspiration has come from. Has it come from mainly two sources, mainly one, mainly three, mainly four? What are they? That'll be interesting to see. So you have your spiritual life is made up in this particular way of seeing it. You could explain the spiritual life in other ways too. In this particular way of seeing it, I think you can say made up of theory, but then also made up of practice. Because in order to lead a spiritual life, to let the soul breathe, you need to actually practice what you believe and understand. And in one sense, you can say that integrates into everything you do. So people will say things like their spiritual practice is all through the way they bathe, the way they cook, the way they eat. Everything is their spiritual practice. But for many of us, I think, we also need specific activities that help us to express our spirituality and help us develop that sense of being spiritual beings in the world. And here again is this question. Have you built a spiritual practice that is your own, that you have built from a number of different building blocks, inspired from different teachings and ideas that you've received over the years? Or are you following one very specific practice? And that will be really interesting to learn as well. So for instance, as an example, when I was young, I was initiated into transcendental meditation. And that was my spiritual practice for a number of years. I would do my mantra every morning and every evening. And that was my spiritual practice. And then as I followed different teachings, I would follow certain practices on their own for a certain amount of time. Feels to me a little like perhaps one could say the analogy of learning how to draw and paint, that you first learn the basic skills, and then later on, you feel freer to combine and to ask yourself, I wonder what if I combine this painting technique with that material and that kind of technique, and you come up with something that is perhaps unique to you. So that's the next question in the homework. Are you at the moment in your life following one practice that you've learned? You might be in the order, and you might be doing the light body and the sacred grove practice, for instance, and that you're making that your daily practice or your weekly practice. Or have you developed a kind of idiosyncratic combination over the years? That'll be really interesting to see. And if you're able to share, that would be lovely too. And how often do you do it? Do you do it regularly, every morning, every day? Or does it come and go? Do you do it once a week? How does it work? Perhaps your spiritual practice is following the eightfold wheel of the year. So about every 6 weeks, you set aside some time to celebrate the festivals. There's no judgment in this. We're all so different. It's very easy for us to develop these, what are they called? Whips that to beat ourselves with, that we have to do something daily or whatever it is. So the point I make in this book is that Druidry, for some reason, is highly miscible. You know this word from science, miscible, miscible. It means it's a liquid that combines with another liquid really well. And Druidry combines really well with different paths. And I speculate on the various reasons why that might be. And in the book, it's divided into 3 parts. And I explore, first of all, there's a section called One Tree, exploring the way Druidry works really well with Eastern traditions, with meditative practices from the East, from the Dharmic traditions, and with Yoga Nidra, and with philosophical approaches or religious approaches like Jainism. And then there's a second section of Druidry and Christianity, and then a third section of Druidry and Wicca, and it explores those. And I think what I want to really know and use this medium we have together of what people are doing out there, because I think we've come to a fascinating time in spirituality where we are feeling empowered as individuals to both be united with the collective. There's this tremendous movement from me to we. It's no longer so much about gurus and a hierarchy of spiritual teachers and then disciples who are beneath them. It's much more about all of us trying our best to achieve oneness and a sense of connection and to be of service to life together. It's a huge shift, I think, that's occurring. And at the same time, the paradox that we're also defining ourselves as individuals more uniquely. So that's an interesting process that is occurring. If this is true, this idea, maybe it's not true, but if this is true, then something really interesting is happening. We're becoming more individual and more at one with each other, with community and with the earth. So there will be times in our lives when we need the guidance of a particular practice and a particular tradition. And that's why I think spiritual traditions, spiritual teachers, spiritual books, courses, paths are all really helpful, because we can't just start putting stuff together ourselves and following our own way. At many stages in our lives, we often need guidance and help and support. But it's fantastic to know that we can also work in our own unique way, with our own unique creative genius. It's called personal gnosis in some way. And so that's how I finished the book, actually, which is talking about how I think we need the guidance of the wisdom traditions. We need the discipline and the practices that they offer. And I believe that many of us need the syncretism that they offer as well. The ability, syncretism means the ability to combine different spiritual approaches. Syncretism, and we need that, I think, those combinations. And at the same time, we also need what is known as personal gnosis. That's our own arwen, our own connection, so that we can unite all these wonderful strands and colors of inspiration from around the world and from many different eras and cultures, and unite that with that own deep voice of wisdom inside. And perhaps I was going to say there's no better way, but that's too categorical. A wonderful way to do this is to work with nature. And that's perhaps one of the reasons why Druidry combines so well, I think, with other paths, is because it's nature-based. And so it's not partisan in that sense. And so let's explore this now. I really look forward to reading your comments and to those questions. But now let's go into a meditation. And you might like to close your eyes to better concentrate on yourself. And just take a moment to breathe in deeply. Hold the breath for a moment, and then breathe out deeply through the mouth. Just letting go. Just being fully present to being here, both each of us on our own in front of our computers or laptops or phones, and yet mysteriously connected as well at the same time. And allow this sense of separation just to dissolve, to become aware of being in the most wonderful place in nature. It might be your sacred grove. It might be just a beautiful spot that you love. Maybe a place that's near to you, maybe your own garden where you're sitting now. Wherever it is, just connect to the earth beneath you and the sky above you and the plants and trees around you. Become aware of the earth now. Sense the life in this earth. And just allow yourself to tune in to the rhythm of this earth, bringing you a sense of stability and calm. And as you breathe in, you can feel the energy of the earth flowing up into you, bringing you healing, bringing you vitality too. And you feel settled on the earth. And become aware of the plant life and the trees around you now. And sense how they know of your presence. At some level of their being and your being, you are one with each other, connected with each other. And breathing in and breathing out, sense that connection. And breathe in the perfume and the energy of the plants and the trees. See if you can smell the blossom as you breathe in and out. And now become aware of the sky above you. And breathe in the energy and vitality of the sky, so that the energy of the sky meets the energy of the earth within the center of your being. And sense your being now. And then sense the earth and the trees and the sky around you, not as separate, but as part of you and you as part of it. All sense of boundary disappears as you feel that you are the sky, you are the earth, you are the trees. And then gradually, as you become aware of breathing in and breathing out, just return your awareness to your sense of self within this world of nature. And imagine that you're putting the palms of your hands on the earth, and you feel the firmness and solidity of the earth beneath you. And you send your love to the earth. May the earth be healed and protected. May we respect and care for the earth. And then you lift your hands up and you place your hands on your heart. And you feel the warmth of your hands on your chest and your heart. You can do this in your physical body too. And as you do this, you become aware of the boundaries of your physical body, feeling grounded and stable, filled with vitality from the earth, from the sky, from the plants around you. And you become aware of being seated in front of your computer or your tablet or phone. You become aware of the whole network of friends around the world, meditating at exactly this time together. You sense the magic and the wonder of the fact that we're all over the earth, meditating in this same way, tuning in this same way. And it's as if almost you raise your hand and wave to everybody across the oceans, across the seas. And then you come back to yourself, seated in front of the computer. And when you feel ready, you open your eyes. I hope you enjoyed that. I think another example of where we are in the world today and the story of the world, which is such a strange story, is that we're able to do this, not just technically, but that spiritually, the kind of meditation we've just done, I would suggest, may not have been possible 50 years ago. I don't know. It seems the fact we've just done, it's only taken a few minutes. I don't know, 5, 7 minutes, something like that. We did that. And I don't know how it was for you, but I really sense a connection with the earth and the sky, with the other, with the world out there, within and without, and with you too. Now, am I deluding myself? Is this a fantasy? I don't think so. But if it is, it's a great fantasy and it makes me feel really good and really happy. It opens my heart. It makes me feel more healthy, more grounded, more hopeful, and gives me some strength and courage to keep going. So to sum up, I just want to sum up really, and just to say, we were looking at this concept of a spiritual life, the spiritual life. And an idea that one way to look at it is that it's made up of theory and practice. And if you look at theory, it's interesting to ask yourself, what is it made up of? What's made up my spiritual theory of life? Why do I call it that? And where have I learned this from? And what are its core beliefs? And am I still building it, or have I finished the edifice, as it were? So one set of questions. And then there's practice. And again, a similar set of questions. Where do my practices come from? What are my practices? Do I feel the need to just follow one very specific set at the moment? Or am I creating my own way from a number of different elements? So some interesting questions to look at. So I really look forward to reading what you write, and have a lovely evening and a great week. And I look forward to seeing you again. And in the meanwhile, lots of love and blessings. Bye. Be sure to subscribe, share, and join me next time for more inspiration.